Hello, beautiful minds. Nice to be here. Today I will speak about the need to have smarter cities and what they can learn and embrace from startup mindsets. So why cities? Cities are the place where most of us are born, raised, where we play, where we are educated, where we get in love for the first time, or second time, third time. It is the place where we work. All of the cities, every single one of them in the world, they have their own charm, special charm. They have their legacy. They have their spoken and unspoken stories, but most of them and all of them have their own challenges and problems that they are facing. In a parallel universe, we have organizations that are basically designed by default to solve challenges and problems, that are reinventing business models. They are called startups. So what are the tips and tricks that cities might learn from them? There are many of them. I will touch point with some of them today, but I think that I will make you think about more into detail. This green dot is a satellite image of Sarajevo and its surroundings. Sarajevo, as a headline, is the greenest capital city in Europe. I don't know how many of you knew about this fact. So this is a study that was done by a German institute that if you would point in the center of the city and make a circle in the diameter of 8 kilometers, Sarajevo is the greenest capital in terms of index of vegetation. That is a really nice headline. At the same time, you wouldn't expect from a greenest capital to also be in the headlines in December and January, when we have the problem with smog that we already talked about. But this is not an issue only with Sarajevo. This challenge is shared with 90% of cities in the world. So 90% of city dwellers breathe unhealthy air all over the world. Cities are being disrupted every single day, especially with the technology boom that happened in the last century. 1915, Lady Florence Norman on her autoped, gliding in the streets of London. 100 years later, we are facing a chaos on the streets around the world, where we have the new reinvented business models of sharing electric scooters, and cities are not ready for them yet. There are some mega trends that are currently happening that are connected with the rise of the cities. For the first time ever in 2007, there are more people living in the cities than in the rural areas. By 2050, we will reach a number of 70% of people that will be living in cities. They occupy only 3% of the world and land place, and for that, they emit greenhouse emissions in the amount of 75%. 80% of economic outputs are created in the cities. The life is happening here. We are also facing a digital transformation. So in the 5 minutes that I was speaking so far, more than 2 million hours of Netflix materials were streamed worldwide. Digital transformation that is currently happening around the globe is having a significant effect on the cities itself. And there are a lot of things that we might use. So what is a smart city? So I believe that all of you have heard this buzzword. This is there are many definitions coming from IEEE, from UN, from all of these organizations. It's a philosophy also. So in my opinion, city is a place that most efficiently uses all of the resources that it has at its disposal to increase the quality of life. And yes, they might use the tech gadgets and solutions to come with it. But to share some thoughts with you, this buzzword was created by the tech companies. IBM in 2004 used this term basically as a sales material to the city officials to explain the solutions in a more meaningful and colorful way. That was the first generation of smart cities. The second generation of the smart cities and the evolvement went through from 2008 until now, where cities got more mature and they know what they want. So they started to create smart city strategies. That is really good, but they created strategies without, most of them not involving the citizens itself. This is really wrong. One global agency did the research on 153 smart city strategies that they had the chance to learn. And only 15 of them had the comprehensive strategic approach. Only 10%. And these are really good cities that you admire, that have a really good lifestyle. 8 of them were at the advanced stage of implementation. The wording around smart city is also evolving. This is one bibliographic study that shows that with smart cities we get the terms like sustainability, innovation, social innovation, renewable energy, mobility, strategy, and all of these terms that are coming with all of these topics that are being investigated now. We are coming to the third generation of the smart cities and something that we all need to take part in. We are talking now about sustainable cities and communities. Those are the cities that are involving citizens in all of the decisions that are being made. So usually if you would work in the public sector, this is something that you are facing. Most of the countries and the cities are still using this relatively old approach. So you get the policy formation, some of the experts drive requirements, they find the details, then based on that, you make a procurement call, you sign the contract, which is, in terms of cities, always very hefty, and afterwards, you start with the development. You launch it, and in the end, you can very, very frequently find an unhappy face with the end user. So what happened here? Users or the citizens are very, very often neglected. So why I'm saying that we need, what we really need in these terms is to rethink the entire process. So to put the users in the first place. So what if it doesn't meet the needs of users? All of these procurement calls. So this is something of awfully spending the money that we all brought to these budgets. What if some requirements are missed? We created something that no one is using. Luckily, in the last decade, we have seen also really good examples of some services that are being developed. This one is from government digital services from UK, which completely adopted agile approach into solving issues and challenges that they are facing. So they start with the discovery phase. They move to alpha, then to beta phase, then moving to a live version. Agile approach. Everything starts with the users itself. Not someone just writing the requirements, but continuously receiving the feedback from the users and improving the solutions. There are methods that can be used, mostly from IT companies. You have heard, most of you have heard about them. I will not go into detail, but these are really simple methodologies that can be used in the cities itself and are already being used by most advanced cities in the world. So Scrum, Kanban, Lean are some of them. The usual process would look like, we start with the discovery. So we start with the user interviews. We create user stories. We map user journeys. We do the competitive analysis, see if there are some other cities that had similar challenges and how they solved it. Then we start with the design. So we create mock-ups. We create prototypes. We test it. And afterwards, we build it. Which is really important. After we launch it, we iterate. We get the version 1.1, 1.2, 2.0, 3.0. So this is the thing. it's a continuous process and always going back to the user needs which are evolving. So there are some basic tools and techniques that can really look so simple and yet they are very, very effective. The strength of a daily stand-up meeting, 15 minutes of the entire team sitting and saying what they have done, what they are planning, are they blocked? It's priceless. Sprint planning meetings, this is something that is more connected with the Scrum methodology, but team sits, makes a plan, and make actions how to deliver it. Demo, when you have some milestone that is really important, then you gather the team, you show and tell what you have done. So we are speaking everything that we are seeing here, we are speaking about the communication, we are speaking about transparency. Retrospective meetings. So when you have delivered something significant, you sit with your team, you go and see what was bad, needs to be action itemized and improved. What was really good, you stick with it. Are there any ideas to prevent some mistakes happening again? User stories are also created in a continuous manner and they are basically put in the backlog, something that will be prioritized in the time to come. But what is a shared challenge also for the startups and the smart cities is attracting talents. So we have heard the importance about values. We need to consider also the mission in order to attract talents. Startups, both cities, they need to heavily invest to advertise what they are doing, to share it, to share these challenges in order to attract really good people that will take care of it. Transparency is something that I mentioned many times so far. This is the secret and main ingredient to have a collaborative and open approach in solving all of the issues. So this is something that is a must-have in all startups, and this is something that we need to have in public institutions and that we need to have in the cities. So what do we need in the end? We need to have smartivists, smart city activists. We need gathering of minds. We need people to tackle the status quo, to be innovative, to ask for solutions with the main goal to increase the quality of life. Basically, we need you. Thank you very much.